The house smelled like roasted chicken and warm bread, my shortcut to safety. For years that smell had meant I could exhale, that nothing truly bad could happen under this roof. Tonight it felt staged, like a prop dragged out to convince everyone, including me, that this was still a safe place. Warmth arranged carefully to hide something sharp underneath. Mom's place in Columbus was crowded in that familiar, suffocating way family gatherings always were. Folding chairs lined the walls, pressed close like they were bracing for impact. Coats hung heavy on the banister, sleeves tangled together. Voices overlapped, laughter bumping into side conversations, the sound thick enough to blur thought. This wasn't just dinner, it was a pre-wedding gathering for my sister Elise, the kind meant to signal unity, to reassure everyone that the family was solid, loving, intact. I stayed by the kitchen counter with a dish towel over my shoulder, hands constantly moving. Refilled glasses, collected plates, wiped invisible crumbs. In my family, usefulness was camouflage. If I stayed busy, I stayed invisible. Invisible was safer. Elise floated through the room with a smile she'd practiced in mirrors, bright but brittle. Mom fussed with napkins, folding and refolding them, as if perfect corners could smooth over nerves. My father Gordon paced with a drink in his hand, stopping just long enough to laugh too loudly before moving again. Everything looked right, carefully arranged, polite, celebratory. My body didn't agree. From the moment I parked the car, a pressure had built behind my eyes, the kind that warned me something was coming. I told myself it was stress. I always did. I dried a plate, stacked it, reached for another. Then Gordon tapped his glass with a spoon. The sound cut cleanly through the room. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Chairs stilled. Someone's laugh died unfinished. I looked up, expecting a toast, something sentimental about love, about new beginnings. Gordon smiled, the smile he used when he wanted credit for kindness while preparing to be cruel. He said my name instead. Every face turned at once. It felt physical, like a spotlight snapping on, heat rushing into my cheeks. Gordon thanked everyone for coming, talked about family harmony, about doing what was best. His voice was calm, confident, already decided. Then he said it. I would not be attending Elise's wedding. The words hovered, unreal, like they hadn't landed yet. My brain searched for a mistake, a joke, a correction that didn't come. Gordon kept talking, filling the silence before anyone could interrupt. He mentioned my past, the broken engagement years ago, the disappointment that still followed me like a shadow. He said I carried bad energy, that weddings were about fresh starts, and I was a reminder of what went wrong. This isn't punishment, he added quickly. It's boundaries. No one spoke. Mom stared at her hands, fingers locked together like she was holding herself still. Elise stared at the floor, jaw clenched tight. A cousin who had hugged me earlier suddenly became deeply absorbed in her phone, scrolling like it held instructions on what to do next. The silence wasn't confusion. It wasn't neutrality. It was agreement. My shoes sounded too loud as I stepped away from the counter. The dish towel slipped from my shoulder and fell to the floor unnoticed. My phone felt heavy in my hand. I looked around the room at faces I'd known my whole life, and something settled in my chest with terrifying clarity. No one here was going to speak for me. Who wants to tell her I paid for the wedding? My voice surprised me. It didn't crack. It didn't rise. It cut cleanly through the room. My name, Tessa, was still hanging in the air from Gordon's announcement. And for the first time that night, it felt like it belonged to me again. Gordon's mouth tightened. Annoyance flashed across his face, sharp and quick. That's not what we're talking about, he said, waving the point away as if money were an inconvenience, not the foundation of everything happening in this room. I didn't argue. I turned my phone so the screen faced outward and unlocked it. The glow lit my hands, then my face. Mom took a half step toward me and stopped, twisting a napkin so hard it crumpled. Elise's eyes lifted to my face, then slid away, searching the room for permission to react. I tapped Riverstone Hall. The phone rang. Once, twice. Renee Alvarez, the venue manager, answered on the third ring. I switched to speaker. Hi, Tessa, she said warmly. Everything okay? I'm calling about the final payment, I said. My voice sounded steady, distant, like it belonged to someone else. Please put the contract on hold. No further charges are authorized. There was a pause, the faint click of a keyboard. You're the account holder, Renee said carefully. I can mark it pending. Do it, I said, effective immediately. Gordon let out a short, disbelieving laugh. The sound caught in his throat. Elise's fiancé froze, staring at me as if I'd just pulled something dangerous into the open. I didn't look at them. I dialed the planner next. Kendra Feld Events, a cheerful voice answered. She launched straight into details about the seating chart and floral updates, words tumbling over each other. Kendra, I interrupted. Suspend all services tied to my name, notify the vendors. Everything pauses until further notice. Silence. Then her tone shifted. Cool, professional, precise. Legally you can do that, she said. I'll send email confirmation. When the call ended, the room exploded. Chairs scraped back. Voices overlapped. Someone whispered, "Can she do that?" Gordon barked my name like it was a command. Mom broke down, crying, begging me to stop, to think of family, to think of how this would look. Elise stepped toward me, hands shaking, eyes wide with panic. "You can, T," she said. "I already did," I replied. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I watched the shift happen in real time. Faces draining, confidence collapsing, contempt turning into fear. In that moment, I understood something I'd never fully allowed myself to see. Their power had only ever existed because I paid for it. I slid my phone into my pocket, reached for my coat on the banister, and pulled it on slowly. No one tried to stop me this time. I walked out the door and into the cold, the click of the lock behind me sounding final, like the end of a long-held breath. Cold air hit my face the second I stepped outside, sharp and clean, like it was trying to wake me up. The door clicked shut behind me, sealing off the noise, the warmth, the performance. I stood there for a moment, keys in my hand, heart pounding too loud in my ears. Then I walked to my car. I didn't drive. I sat behind the wheel and watched my breath fog the windshield, one slow exhale at a time. Inside the house, shapes moved past the windows, shadows flared and vanished. I could almost hear it, the arguing, a cabinet slammed shut, my name thrown around like a weapon. For once, I didn't rush back inside to fix it. I let the silence in the car hold me. By morning, the messages started. Gordon's texts came first, sharp and furious, filled with words like respect and responsibility. Janet left a voicemail through tears, begging me to reconsider, reminding me of deposits, contracts, obligations I'd already fulfilled 100 times over. I listened once, then deleted it. I went to work. I answered emails. I smiled at coworkers who had no idea my family had imploded the night before. At lunch, I walked into a downtown office with a neat folder tucked under my arm. Contracts follow signatures, Attorney Miles Chen said after I laid everything out on his desk. He read quietly, methodically, not reacting to the family drama layered between the lines. Your name is on these agreements. Your payments are documented. No one can force you to fund an event you've been barred from attending. The words settled deep, steadying something in me I hadn't realized was shaking. I forwarded his letter to Gordon. Then I muted the family group chat. That evening, there was a knock at my door. I already knew who it was. Gordon stood in the hallway, shoulders squared, face set like a verdict. "You're tearing this family apart," he said. "Call them back. Fix it." I didn't step aside. I held the doorframe, feeling the solidness of it under my hand. "I'm not fixing what you broke," I said. "You stood in front of everyone and told me I don't belong. I believed you." His eyes searched my face, looking for the version of me who would apologize, who would cave, who would trade dignity for peace. He didn't find her. After a long moment, he turned and walked away without touching me. 2 weeks later, a cousin posted photos online. A smaller hall, plastic chairs, a cake leaning just slightly to one side, Elise in a white dress, smiling too hard. In one photo, she looked past the camera, as if still waiting for someone to absorb the damage. I typed one message, short and honest. "I love you. I won't be bought and I won't be erased. When you're ready to talk to me, not around me, I'm here." Then I set the phone down, made myself dinner, and let the quiet belong to me. Sometimes freedom doesn't arrive loud or triumphant. Sometimes it shows you. P as silence, earned, chosen, protected. That night didn't make me stronger. It proved I already was. I learned that love without respect is just control wearing a familiar face. I learned that paying the price doesn't mean you own the table, unless you're willing to stand up from it. I didn't lose my family that night. I lost the version of myself that kept shrinking to stay invited. And for the first time, in a long time, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt like room to breathe.